You are listening to Paper and Vices. This is your mature content warning.
So as I was saying before we started, I'm drinking Apothic Cab, and it's very good. All of the Apothic wines are really good.
I like that they're affordable too. They're like
yes,
$9. It's nice.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I'm drinking. I had an Apothic Cab was open earlier, and like there was like a tiny bit left in the bottle, so I finished that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I needed to open a new bottle, and it's it's a twist off, and it's also a cab, and it's got a picture of a tree, like Crest Valley or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not Dreaming Tree, because Dreaming Tree doesn't have twist offs.
So no, and Dreaming Tree is a lot more expensive. So
yeah, that's like $14 a bottle.
Yeah, that's like, I mean,
Apothic is, first of all, not sponsored, but if you hear this, hey. Like you have twist off, it has a cork, but it's made of plastic, and then, ooh, it's a real cork? This is cork made of plastic.
Yeah.
And I guess below twist off, you have wine in a box. No shade on wine in a box.
No.
It's
sometimes you just gotta do adults. It is, yeah. You just need a straw. You're good.
Oh man, now I want a wine box with a straw. They probably can't do that because, I don't know, straws are especially for children or killing turtles or something.
We could bring our own straws. Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yay. 2021. Everything's magically better.
At least we dragged our tired carcasses over the finish line. Like, whether or not it's over, we crossed the finish line. Fuck yeah.
Yes. There was a milestone that happened, and we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah. I mean, I've been home with my family for almost 300 days, and we're probably not leaving anytime soon, but new calendar.
Woohoo! Did you guys do anything like special though, like at home? Like, did you have like a special meal or watch the ball drop on TV?
We ordered pizza, and I watched Bridgerton, and he went to sleep.
Ah, very nice. I need to watch that show yet. Like, everybody's talking about it, and I'm like, what the fuck is Bridgerton?
So
I have no idea.
It's so good. It's one of my vices for this week. It's so good. I'm on a rewatch cycle of it now. Like, while I do other things, while I blog and make notes and pay bills, I've just got Bridgerton on one of my monitors.
Really? That good, huh?
Yeah, it's that good.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have definitely, like, in a couple weeks from now, I'll be talking about Bridgerton.
This is gonna be like the Umbrella Academy, and when the second season is premiering, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I discovered this show!
Yep. You're like, oh, so old news.
We're still watching through True Blood. Not the reboot that's coming this year, but like the first one. So
yeah.
I may have screwed that up by moving out of the state, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say part of that too is because, and to give us props, like when Victoria and I get together, we eat an entire episode of True Blood and drink
entire
a lot
season.
Of wine.
Yeah.
Not episode. Oh my god, an entire episode.
An entire episode.
True Blood. Woo!
Yeah, I think our average is one bottle every 2 episodes at this point. Yeah. So, Bridgerton vices for this week for sure. I did make black-eyed peas and collard greens and cornbread for New Year's Day. Because I didn't last year, and I was just like...
And the black-eyed peas are for...
good luck.
And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're for good luck. So, basically,
I'm
2020
still
was
gonna
all your fault.
blame...
Because you didn't make black-eyed peas.
Did I not make black-eyed peas? We finally got to see our favorite band together after trying for literally almost a decade. I was like...
I know. So, okay, so it's my fault too. Because, like, so basically we just fucked everything up because...
Shame on us.
Because we broke the trend and saw our favorite band. I'm sure I shaved my legs a few extra times too, and like, that just fucked everything up. So
I had a good routine down at home with my kid. Like, that was not gonna last. So we're supposed to be recapping 2020. And let me just say, it is that episode. Let me just say to a point how much I don't want to do that. But there were good things, like so many fucking books came out. So many. And maybe it wasn't more than it was any other year, but it felt like more. because everybody was home.
Well, that, and like I was thinking about this the other day, like how much, because we started the podcast. That was one of our good things from 2020 is we started the podcast. Yay. But like I feel like I'm much more in tune with like the world of literature,
publishing culture
now that
and all that
we're doing this. So I feel like publishing culture and everything, and like, because before it was like, oh cool, this new book, I just happened to come across it. But now, like, and I didn't have a shortage of things to read, but I did reread a whole lot more. Like one of the blog posts I'm gonna, like, that's going to be coming, here's a little teaser if you haven't been over to our blog. But I'm gonna talk about some of the books like I could reread over and over and over again. Like now I'm so excited by all the books that like my eyes have been open, and I'm like, I don't have time to reread anything. There's so many new things to read.
And even when you look at like continuing series, you're like, oh, that means I'm going to read the same 5 authors for these 2 months. Oh no.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. And like, I guess it's easy to kind of get them mixed up. Now I'm like very in tune. I'm like, okay, yeah.
So some of the highlights for me, Midnight Sun came out. We did a whole episode about that. It's on our website, paperandvices.com/podcast. It's towards the bottom. So Midnight Sun came out. Kingdom of the Wicked, which was really good. It's my first Carrie Maniscalco, is that her last name? Book. Totally surprised me. Really good. A Deadly Education, which we both have thoughts about. Emerald Blaze, which was another Lona Andrews books. The Fiery Crown, which was a continuation of a Jeffy Kennedy series that I love. Potentate of Atlanta by Haley Edwards continued. 40 Proof by Shannon Mayer continued. Mayer also decided to continue the Desert Curse series. Melissa Marr, who we both like, funnily enough, for different books. She wrote Graveminder. She started a new series. I started reading Audrey Gray, who does Kingdom of Runes. We both got into Sarah J. Maas for the first time. And I did read a couple nonfiction books, but the only one I can say I really, really recommend is Ariel Meadows Stallings did a book called From Shit Show to Afterglow. And I just, like, I read it when I first got it, and I started rereading it yesterday. It's like, for me, it's like the 2020 recovery book. She just really...
Nice.
She doesn't speak like a professional or in any sort of condescending way. She has this way of speaking to you like she's that cool kid, but she's also your friend. And she's just talking to you about her experience, and she wants you to be okay. And she incorporates mindfulness and being aware of your body and, you know, meditative practices, and that you kind of fall apart in this shit show. It's a good book. It's actually, I got it way back. It's the first one on our Instagram.
Yeah, this is the one that this is the girl that
Offbeat
did
Bride.
The website, the wedding website.
Yeah.
Offbeat Bride.
This book is so good.
Yeah.
And then she goes through Find Your Afterglow, and she has like exercises, and Dismantled and Wide Awake is the name of the epilogue. She talks about, you know, paying it forward, and none of it is judgmental. And some of it is kind of like, I mean, some of it, a lot of it is definitely within the realm of new agey bullshit, but it's not bullshit. She speaks to you very frankly and honestly, and in a way that you don't...
Good new agey stuff.
Yeah, it's good new agey. Like, she's not telling you to realign your chakras with crystals and then everything will magically be okay. She's like, look, this is a shit show. And it's that kind of practicality and caring that comes through in her writing. And yeah, it's just a really good book, and I really recommend it if you haven't read it yet. And even if you're not going through a shit show, like a lot of us got through 2020 easier than others, it's good to have in your mental toolkit. Does that make sense? So yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. No, because I mean, I like, you know, 2020 was a fantastic year for you. Then like, there's always gonna, it's funny because I was actually thinking about this, like 2020 on a global scale has been pretty shit, but like personally I've had some really good highs. Like my year that was like, oh my god, it's all falling apart, was more like 2017, and like that was just a crazy year. But like you need, like you're going to have times in life that are just a shit show. So it is good to have that kind of stuff in your toolkit. One that I like, it's interesting you mentioned that because that sounds a lot like, I haven't read this one either, but it's been on my to be read list for sure. It's Hold On But Don't Hold Still, and it's by Christina Kuzmic. She's that lady on Instagram and Facebook
funny.
that has all the funny, yeah, she's really funny. She does all the parodies. She's super sarcastic and just really like practical with some of her advice, but it sounds kind of like that toolkit kind of, well, when things get shitty, here's something to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
A bottle of Apothic something in one of these books.
Yes. I haven't met an Apothic I don't like, so.
Neither have I.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was interesting you read, or you meant, like, a lot of the books that you mentioned, I haven't, a lot of it's indie stuff, right?
Some of it is. Or it's with authors that do both. Like the Kingdom of Rune series is Mayor. Riven Kingdoms is another series I got into, which is really good. That's indie. Haley Edwards stuff and 40 Proof are indie. Emerald Blaze, I think it's through Avon. And I know Jeffy Kennedy's, I think it's the Forgotten Realms, that the Fiery Crown is the second one. The first one's the Orchid Throne. The second one's the Fiery Crown. The third one coming out this year is the Promised Queen. I think those are through a publisher. But gotcha. Usually I read almost everything on a Kindle. And this is my first year that I've really started getting back into corporeal books again. So it was actually a mix for me. But yeah, a lot of these are indie. It's a pretty fair mix, I would say.
Yeah. No, it's cool because I think one thing that you've really helped me, like, open my eyes to is the whole world of indie authors. I did read my first Alona Andrews book this year.
You never told me what you thought about it or if you actually finished it.
No, I did finish it. What I didn't finish was there was like an epilogue that like went over, I think it was a flashback. Yeah, it was a flashback, I think. She's like in a locker room. I can't give any more, so I'm not going to give any more spoilers, but
the book's a decade old.
Oh, okay.
It was the first Kate Daniels book. Yeah. Which is magic some things, because they're all magic something. Blood Hair is the Kate Daniels World book one. Magic Bites.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah. No, you know what I liked about it, and I think I was mentioning this to you, like, this is what I'll do. I'll be reading a book, and then I'll get this thought, and I'll be like, I have to tell Victoria right now. So, like, I'll message her in one of our chats. But I remember one thing that stands out, and I think I messaged this to you, is I'm like, oh, it's like fantasy and mystery, and it's like a detective novel, and that's so cool.
Yeah.
So it was just this crossing of genres that I was like, this is amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I think you sent me 2 or 3. I know there was a time you sent me like 3 books, and I think 2 of the 3 books were by
I think you have Andrews. The first Innkeeper, and then Darkest Dray, which I don't know if that's the book or the series. That one you really liked.
Yeah, and I started to do the sequel to that on Audible. And I have to say, I like the concept and idea of Audible, and see how it's like from my dad. It's like my dad wouldn't read if it weren't for Audible. And so he's like started to get into like all these like fantasy sci-fi books, and he'll tell me about them, and I'm like, that is really cool. And he does them all on like Audible. But anyway, like I try to do the Audible for the second Darkest Dray book, and like most of the time when I'm in the car, I'm with my children, and I can't read that.
Nope. And it's not even. It's not even like terribly. No. Well, it's not. It's not that it's not. It's just not that graphic either. Like
that's true, but there's enough.
This is not Anne Bishop.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing too crazy, but. Still, like I guess thinking about
it's not child appropriate though. I'm not saying
it's not
it is.
child appropriate.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, no, I loved. You mentioned Deadly Education, and I really liked that one. That was actually my first book that I read after like coming back from like crazy maternity leave, moving madness. Like that was the first one that I like picked up, because there was a lot of books I picked up and I started, and I know like on like our last week's episode and the weeks before I've talked about different books and stuff, but like start to finish, I am totally 100% into this. Like Deadly Education was amazing.
It's also the first thing I sent to your new house.
That is true. Yeah.
Another, I'm reading this at 1 a.m. Oh shit, it's good. I'm not done yet, but I'm going to send it to Lee situation.
Yeah, it's a horrible situation. It's like the worst.
Yeah, the worst.
I'm not expecting anything from Amazon. What is this? Oh, yay, it's a book. Yay.
Yeah, I got it in a book box. I've been getting a lot of book boxes. We're going to be talking and blogging about that. But it was like Wicked Kingdom. It was totally a surprise for me because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Because here's the thing. A Deadly Education is not a romance, and I read a lot of romance, and I like romance in my fantasy fiction. It's not a romance. It doesn't need to be a romance. It's really good. Mm-hmm. Like, there's crush tensions, but it's high school crush tensions. It's definitely not the focus of the book, and it ties into a bunch of other things really well. But there's been this literally awful trend in self-published fantasy romance to have like there's a school bully trope where it's like people are in an academy. There's like all these academy tropes, and I'm just like, I'm a 35-year-old lady. I don't no, like, he was a hunky 18-year-old. My mind doesn't go any place other than someone needs to sit him down, make him cookies, and give him a lecture on birth control and communicable diseases. Like, that's where my mind goes at this point. Like, I would very much like to have a love interest who can rent a car. That's a thing. And usually that involves not being in school. Unless...
Or 18.
Right. Unless he's in debt up to his eyeballs, which is a whole different kind of realism we don't get in books. Yes. So I really appreciated that it was a magic school book that, one, was not romance heavy, two, had really well written characters that were appropriate for the age and not exhausting.
Yeah.
And was not in any way, shape, or form a ripoff of Hogwarts.
Not at all. Not
nope.
at all.
No.
Yeah. No, it was very, like, I liked how there's a lot of, like, I don't know, I almost want to use the word dystopian, but that's wrong. Like, it's not a dystopian novel at all, but it had that kind of feel of, like, dystopian novels, like, have that, like, especially once,
I think it's arguable that within the pocket dimension, they've shoved the school into... Ooh, sorry, it's a spoiler. The school's in a pocket dimension. I've ruined everything. I think it's arguable that within the little magic pocket they've shoved the school into, that it's dystopian within the schoolmance, for sure.
Yeah. There's just no safety, really, like, and people have to be really careful, and it was very intriguing, like, just to think about, okay, how are they going to go about getting out of XYZ predicament? It's interesting you mentioned romance. I think romance would have actually quite ruined the book.
Absolutely.
Because it's just so unrealistic.
No, and I think Elle's character would not be believable if she had gone. Now, I mean, if it goes there in certain places in the second one, it'll be more believable because all the characters have been together for a year and things are very different at the end than they were at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But I really, I enjoyed the whole book, and if there's no romance in it at all through the second, I don't know if it's supposed to be a duology or a trilogy, but the one coming out, the next one that comes out this summer, I think it's June, is called The Last Graduate, which is ominous as hell. So I'm assuming that there's only two.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting because
another series
3 or 4
that's very magical and high stakes, but doesn't rip off Hogwarts, is K.F. Breene and Shannon Mayer. I think it was in 2018. Might have been 2019, did the Shadow Spell Academy, and it's 3 books, and they're called The Culling Trials, and it's just about getting into the academy. That's it. And there is a little bit of romance, but it's definitely, they're in high school. There's a little bit of sex. It's not romance.
Call it what it is.
I loved them. I love these books. And there were rumors that they were going to continue them. And then I don't think. I asked KF Green on Instagram, and she said that Shannon Mayer is going to be continuing them probably this year. And I am so excited. Like, they would really go on the shelf right next to A Deadly Education for me. So I would send them to you, but they're on Kindle. I mean, I'm sure I can get paperbacks, but
no, I really need to invest in it. I'm wondering if part of it, I need to invest in like a e-reader of some sort.
I love my Paperwhite.
Yeah.
Even though it's
we'll have to see.
6.5 years old and has 5 bad pixels, and I really need to replace it. And my husband keeps telling me, please spend the money and replace it. And I'm like, no, I love this one. One day it's just going to die, and you're going to hear my whales down in Florida.
Like halfway through a really epic scene in the middle of your book.
I'm going to show my nerd here. I have the Kindle e-reader app on my phone, and they sync with each other. So if that happens, I just open it on my phone, and this little box pops up that says, the most recently read page is blah, 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 blah from your Kindle. Do you want to go there? And then you do. Because I've gone on vacation without my Kindle before. And my husband, upon finding this out, was like, we need to go back. And I was like, no, I have a solution. It's great.
You're like, I got this.
Yeah.
You know, on the topic of like romance and like lack of romance, like I know we've talked before about Paolini's books, about the inheritance. It's not a trilogy. There's 4, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was awkward. No, it's the inheritance cycle.
Okay. Did I butcher his name? Is that right?
Paolini? Okay, if you say it a different way, I don't know. I'm Mr. Apparently Not Paolini. If you ever hear this, feel free to come on the podcast and correct us.
I had a nerd moment. He liked one of our Instagram posts. I was like, oh my god, it's so cool.
Everything I've heard about him is that he's the nicest dude in real life.
He seems really cool. But I'm reading. Okay. So it's a big ass fucking book. To be fair, and it's also sci-fi, which I love. But it takes me a little bit longer to get through. But so I'm like halfway through it, and I've been reading it for months. But it's a really big fucking book. But it's amazing. Like I love it. It's kind of such this weird.
What's it called?
Like To Sleep in a Sea of Stars.
Cool.
But yeah, it's this weird dichotomy between like I really, really love it, and therefore since I really, really love it, I should be like staying up till 2 a.m. to read it. But like I just can't. Like my brain just shuts down. But that's another one that I've been really impressed with this year. And I don't know if it's just because he hasn't released a book in so long, and I'm so excited that he wrote it, or I don't like. It's a really cool concept. Just the way he deals with like alien presence, and the way he deals with like the colonization of the universe. Like I don't know, it's just really cool.
I'm really read it. It's on my TBR.
Yeah, no, that's really
because
good.
I'm really. So here's the thing. Forgive me again, Mr. Paolini, if you ever hear this. The inheritance cycle wasn't like the most groundbreaking original fantasy ever, but it was good. Mm-hmm. It was solid. He did not give in to the temptation to write his protagonist the way he wanted him to be, but rather the way he was. And that really comes through in the sort of romance, very awkward subplot situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you find out how old he was when he wrote it, you're like, holy shit. So to see that person as an adult with the, I'm sure, hundreds of books they've read in between, that I'm interested in. Like, I want to read it because it sounds like a cool concept, and all the stuff you're saying makes me want to read it more. But I think I want to read it because for his age, Paolini was damn good when he was a kid. I want to see what he's doing as an adult. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes total different books, like, changes how people write.
It does.
But
for sure.
But yeah. So I'm still working. I need to get through that, but I laugh at I've been laughing because so another book, like you mentioned this, that you and I got into, Sarah J. Maas this year. And the Court of Thorns and Roses series, we started out reading at the same time, and then
2 weeks later I was like, I'm done. Where are you?
I was like, okay. So book 3 in that series, I'm horrible. Victoria can tell you, but I'm horrible at memorizing the titles. But book 3, where like all the shit happened, and what I thought was like an epic conclusion. Like there was so much, like there was such a satisfying ending to this to that section of the story.
A Court of Mist and Fury, or A Court of Wings and Ruin. Wings and Ruin is number 3 because I'm rereading it.
Okay, yeah, but that one was just like, so I was like, all right, this is wow, like that was crazy. And then there's like a little novella that I guess is very important to read because it connects to the next book that's coming out.
Yes, but it's a completely different vibe than the other books in the series.
Yeah, but it's just like it's taking me like it's a small book, but I'm just like, I don't know, I like it, but like I think you and I were talking about how, or you were telling me how it's just like you said, it's a different vibe, it's a different pace.
I like it because it's very, people are gonna jump on my ass for this. It's almost fan fiction-y. Like, it's legit full-on fan service. And I don't have a problem with that. Like, one of the things that I don't appreciate that some writers do, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is a great example of this. Even though it's a TV show, it's not a book. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the next season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel because it's exhausting. I need her to have a fucking good month. Not a day, a month. Because just watching her screw up and bumble every 5 seconds, like the secondhand embarrassment and frustration, like I can't handle it. I need Maisel to have a good season. Because apparently the trope the Maisel cast or Maisel writers are going with is, let's bring her up to a high and then just drop her straight off the cliff. The audiences will love that. And it's been 3 seasons of that. And we don't even get Zachary Levi next season, which, damn it, we don't get Zachary Levi next season. So a lot of writers do this thing where they're like, there's no story unless stuff's going to shit. And I hate that because that's not how life is. No. She says in the 2020 wrap-up episode of her podcast. So what I really liked about A Court of Frost and Starlight is that we got to see our characters at rest. We got to enjoy them when the drums of war were not sounding ominously in the background. And I appreciate that about Moss. She gives her characters a good day, and you do not always worry that the good day is just building up to them being eviscerated and raped and plunged into darkness for eternity in the next chapter. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can just walk around Valaris, and have a good day, and it's okay. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Seriously, Maisel people, my God, I'm exhausted.
My brother watches that show. I have not seen it. That's another one I haven't seen.
It's incredibly good. But when they got to the end of the 3rd season, they did this big thing where she fucks herself over. And I'm just like, I don't want to root for her anymore. She's just... I'm mad. Like, I'm mad and I'm frustrated and I'm like, you can't do this. You have to give us some satisfaction. You took away Zachary Levi and now I'm just stressed. It's not good. Yeah. We've been watching a lot of Tangled Ever After around here. We're on a big Zachary Levi high in this house. Just fair warning. They finally, well, I don't know when they did it, but they finally put the 3rd season on Disney Plus, and it's one of those cartoons where it's like, yes, baby, you can binge this for 6 hours in one afternoon because mommy's right next to you eating popcorn to see what happens next. He was the Prince of the Dark Kingdom. Oh my God. Yeah. It's been our week. I'm fine with it.
That's that in-between week. It doesn't count, between Christmas and New Year, so.
Yeah, it kind of lost some of its magic because of,
What, the week or because of Tangled?
The week lost some kind of the week kind of lost some of its magic because we had 43 weeks of it this year.
Fair.
What is time?
Who even knows? Oh man.
So, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, what are your other highlights from this year book-wise?
Well, speaking of Sarah J. Maas, I would say Crescent City was a huge one. That was actually the first Sarah J. Maas book that I read.
It's the only one I haven't read.
And I know I've mentioned that before. You need to, yes.
I do.
I really like it because, like, especially reading, and I think maybe I would love to get your feedback on this after you read it, but you know, you kind of see the progression of her writing, and just how, like, the Court of Thorns and Roses series is fantastic, and there's a lot of like intricate plot points and characters and things like that. But I think with Crescent City, you see even more of that.
You can see her evolution,
although in some ways it's pretty.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You can see her evolution very clearly from Throne of Glass to A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah.
And Throne of Glass is still good.
I need to read that one, but
it's 7 books.
I don't know. 7 books, yeah. I think I've got like 7 books on my nightstand right now. I need to finish.
It took me a whole month.
That's a long time for you.
That was my September. I heard so much good about Crescent City, though. Yeah, we should stop talking about Moss because we're probably going to do a whole episode about Court of Silver Flames, which I'm so excited about.
Yay! January or February? I don't remember.
I think it's February. I know we both already signed up for a pre-order, and then I'm also getting... So speaking of book boxes, we've gotten a bazillion of them between the two of us, but one early leader for favorite that's standing out for me is the Librarian box, and they just, as in like 20 hours ago, went to a monthly subscription model, and they got... Sarah J. Maas normally doesn't work with book boxes because there were issues with... Anyway. They got permission to do a Court of Silver Flames book box, and so their February box is going to be that, and I'm so excited.
That sounds amazing. I might have to. They probably
I'm fine with having 2 copies. That's fine.
Yes. Anything else that stood out to you for
books this year? No, but you know what did stand out to me as a super favorite piece of media was Such Pretty Forks in the Road, Alanis's new album. Like, she was amazing when we were in middle and high school, but seeing her like grown up and mature, and a little bit softer and quite a bit wiser, like we've caught up to the part where I'm like, oh, these songs make sense for my life right now. That whole album is just beautiful. Such Pretty Forks in the Road. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I've needed it. You know what? It's good though to get that recommend, like, to hear you say that, because I'm actually, the other day I was like, I need something new to listen to.
It is repeat binge worthy for sure.
Yeah.
What are your vices this week?
Cheese. No, well, because and maybe okay, so I don't even remember what day it was. I don't know. But you know, we've been pretty isolated. Like I have a pretty small family. It's just basically I have my brother and sister-in-law live in another state. So it's basically just my parents that live here, and then he's got like a huge family. But we haven't seen most of his family. Like, it's just been his immediate family. And then just over like the Christmas holidays, we saw like an old friend that we haven't seen since January. And so we're like, yay, fresh new blood that we can socialize with in person. And so my husband's like, let's pull out a cheese spread. And I was like, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so we had like 3 different kinds of Gouda, and one that had mold in it that I didn't try.
Because it's supposed to be there?
Yes.
Okay, with cheese you have to ask.
you have to ask. And I mean, I did try a little bit of it because they were like, I don't know, getting on my case about it. They were like, "You're so brave. Why can you not try the mold tree cheese?" And I'm like, "Cause it's fucking mold. Like, I don't want to eat the mold." But like the next day, like I was like I was like, "All right, let me try it," and it tasted like blue cheese. It was blue cheese. It was fancy blue cheese. So, but yeah, so cheese, all the different kinds of cheese, and we've just been munching on it because we had too much of it. But my husband bought more than he needed to entertain, if you can imagine that.
Oh, yeah.
He loves to entertain. It's amazing. Which has not been good for the pandemic because his poor soul.
Yeah, I don't think he'd do well working from home.
No. Although he's like, you know, whenever you're ready, he's like, I run the shit out of the household. He's like, just give me a chance. I'm like, I give you 2 weeks. You'll be bored as fuck. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, so cheese and spreadable, oozy gooey Gouda were life-changing. But what about you? What are your vices this week?
Plus CBD gummies, which were recommended to me by my formerly reefer madness convinced mother-in-law. Like I was talking, like she was a widowed Southern Baptist woman, and now she's just a Southern woman. Therapy, kids, you should go. And I was telling her like a month ago, I was like, yeah, I just can't calm my mind down enough to sleep. And she's like, oh, I've been using these CBD gummies. Let me send you a link. Here's a coupon. And I'm like, 2020's fucking weird, y'all. But it's plus CBD, and they're cherry mango, and they are 10 milligrams of CBD per gummy, and I eat like half of one, and it's nice because I haven't found because there's some part of the hemp plant that does not agree with my body, and we're pretty sure it's the THC. My reaction is significantly milder now in my 30s than it was in my teens, but it can give me really bad headaches, hives, breathing issues, no pleasantness. But these work for me, and they're fine. And it's the first CBD, like I know, Paper and Vices, we have like a marijuana leaf in our logo, but I am not a participant because fucking biology. And
fuck biology, man.
Right? Well, I guess fucking is biology.
This is true.
Plus CBD gummies. These are cherry mango flavor, and they're by CV Sciences. They work really well. It just kind of smooths out all the pointy bits. It's real nice. And I'm wishing I had ordered the 60 gummies instead of the 30s, but what are you going to do? So CBD gummies and Bridgerton are my vices this week. Like, yes. Hell yeah, Bridgerton.
All right. I'm putting it on my to-do list this week. I have to.
I'm putting Crescent City on my to-do list for this week. So we have our marching orders. Gotta find some cheese. Did you set a reading goal this year? I don't know if that's a thing you do.
It's not usually a thing I do, but I think a frustration that I like after having having the baby and then like moving and everything and just all the craziness with 2020. I think my reading goal is just to get back to where I was.
Fair.
As far as like my reading pace and everything, just because right now I love what I'm reading and love what I'm, I'm so excited to read everything, but and I used to read a lot at night right before I went to bed, and I still do. But I usually fall asleep 5 minutes into whatever it is I'm reading, which is very frustrating because that is like prime reading time. Or as soon as like the times that I am awake, my daughter wakes up and I can't read anymore. So my reading goal this year, and I know that it's just developmental age stuff.
Yeah, it'll be different in 6 months.
It'll be different in 6 months. It'll probably be different in like 2 months. But yeah, so I think that's just my goal, is just to kind of like hit that stride of, and I think I didn't realize like how much like reading is a muscle. Oh yeah. And if you let that muscle weaken, then it takes a while to strengthen back up. So
this is why I read more than you, because I don't do things, I read.
Well, and you also, I want to. Part of the reason I want to get like a good Kindle that has like a background light on it, like is to see if it's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, there's got to be, since this isn't working, I need to find something that will work, and maybe Victoria's route is the way to go.
It is so much more comfortable to read with a Kindle because, like, here's the thing. I need one hand free. I don't need to worry about my book light. I really don't need to worry about it bothering my husband. I have one slim, very light thing I'm holding that's not going to fall on my face and be unpleasant when I inevitably fall asleep. I have I have the smallest, the second smallest. No, there's two sizes. I have the smallest paperweight, and it's always like lost in our bed somewhere when I wake up. And like, just FYI, the light is bright enough that if you turn it up all the way, it's more than enough light to see where everything is to have sex in the middle of the night, which I find to be very handy. So you can get comfortable, back to reading, in whatever position you're in. You can be like all snuggled with your head half hidden in the blanket, and you just have to have like a knuckle and a thumb out to turn the page. And you're good. And it keeps your spot when you fall asleep and just opens it back up there.
Which doesn't happen with the physical copy.
And it's frustrating because books as objects are so beautiful and comforting and varied and important for, like, societies. But you read a lot more with a Kindle, so
yes.
Well, I do anyway. So yeah, my reading goal for this year is 70. My reading goal for last year was 50. I haven't put everything I read in Goodreads yet. I've got like 20 or 30 more books to put in, so I'm going to be just over 100. But I hit my goal. You can follow us on Goodreads. I am Victoria Papers. She is Lee Vices. She has 14 reviews.
I'm like, I was just going to say, I need to go
14 ratings. I'm sorry. She has 14 ratings. And 4 reviews.
So I'm finding behind.
What I'm finding funny here is that I have 140 ratings and 14 reviews. My average is 3.76 stars, and your average is 4.36 stars.
Yes. Maybe it's good that I don't have that many reviews, because like reviewing books as far as like stars is like a kind of new thing for me. So I'm just like, I could tell you if I liked the book or not. I could tell you if I found it life-changing, or if I'm going to read it again, or if it's worth keeping on my bookshelf. But as far as the stars, I need to, what is the difference between 3 and 4 stars? So I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Will you read it again? Generally.
Yeah.
What was the last book I gave 5 stars? Last book I gave 5 stars was A Stitch in Time by Kelly Armstrong, which also came out in 2020 and was really good. It's a romance, and it's historical, and there's ghostes and a mystery and all that stuff. It's good. But I do give 5 stars, but I don't give a lot. Not as many as some people do. Well, because in my opinion, a 3-star review is still a solid review. But some people...
If you were a teacher, you would not give A's.
No.
You'd be like,
no, you gotta earn that shit.
And C's.
You're still passing, darling.
Woo.
Yeah. I have no desire to teach, thankfully.
I had enough. I loved it, but I had enough. 10 years. I feel like 10 years is good.
So you don't do reading goals, but I do. You want me to do something that you do, but I don't do, and that is make a vision board for this year.
Yes, which is so interesting, because I've actually only personally done one vision board, but what I do every year is like, I guess it's visual, so I guess you could say it's a vision-esque board. Is like, I'll set goals for the year, and then I'll put them on my mirror in a list. But and I think might be how we got on the conversation is, this year we wanted to specifically do like an official like vision board, like for like our family. And then like, I know, we may do one together, for Paper and Vices, because it's fun, because I'm a nerd. But like, I don't know, I think what I like about the idea is just being able to really dream about what you want your future to look like, and then have that visual representation, so that when you're having one of those days where you're like, the fuck am I doing this? Whose idea was this? This is stupid. You could look back at that vision board and be like, that is why, because that is what I want this year or this month or whatever to look like. So
in December, we're going to do a vision board and reading shelf check-in. And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
So we were going to sit down and review 2020, and I guess what we meant by reviewing 2020 was talking about all the fucking good books we read. And really, I hope that all of you listening can kind of get on board with that and be like, hell yeah, I've got a list of good books that I read, and tell us in the comments on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. We're Paper and Vices everywhere. But in general, 2020, I hope y'all are okay.
Are you still standing?
It's interesting because, personally, we had a lot of stuff. We talked about how she had a baby and she moved, and we started. Paper and Vices is actually an LLC. So we have the podcast, we have a blog, we have other things we're planning and hoping to do. So we technically started a business, and you think, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it kind of is. There's way more stupid emails to read in starting an LLC. Like, for some reason in my brain, this was going to be like, oh, we're signing up for a new Facebook account. We just have to pay money. No.
I just had that mental image of like, the more you know, like the GIF with the little stars.
Yeah. And so Lee has done a bunch of business shit, and I have not. And so she knew what was up, and I was just like, whoa, oh my God, we have meetings.
My husband has done a lot of business stuff. I was completely fucking lost. I was like, what am I doing again?
But we did it. It's a thing.
Am I emailing?
Like, Paper and Vices LLC exists, and if you steal our name, we'll come for you.
Fuck yeah.
But, and so for us on a personal level, I had major surgery, which was not good. I was stuck in a house for 300 days with a grown adult autistic man and a neuroatypical 5-year-old. We survived. Like, that was our personal 2020, and I think overall, looking globally, we were both pretty blessed. But I feel like 2020 in general was, have you ever watched a movie, like a sci-fi movie, like Cloverfields or Independence Day or some sort of natural disaster, or been in a video game, been playing a video game or reading a novel, and you're like, I wonder what the girl who works at the coffee house is doing during this year of dystopian hell. What are the NPCs doing? What's their life like? Congratulations, everyone on the planet. You were an NPC in a dystopian sci-fi novel in 2020. That's what they were doing. Like,
I'm really upset we don't get like a t-shirt or something.
Like, look, if you want to ask Mitch McConnell for a fucking t-shirt that we all deserve, be my guest. But I don't think it's going to go very well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That bastard makes over $3,000 a week. There are some people online who are sending him Venmo requests for $2,000, and I'm just like, that is beautiful. Sad, but beautiful. But like, there were riots and peaceful marches for people standing up for their rights. A sitting leader supported by the world's largest religion literally tear-gassed peaceful protesters for a photo op.
Yeah.
Overflowing morgues, murder hornets, tornadoes, Dolphins in the canals in Venice. One of the holes in the ozone layer healed. Testing both rapid and PCR for a novel strain of SARS-CoV-2 and a vaccine in less than a year is like legit fucking sci-fi level stuff. Yeah. And we are space nerds in my household. We follow SpaceX very closely. I don't really give a shit what you feel about Elon Musk. The man is polarizing. But the things that SpaceX did this year, and it's a lot of people other than Elon Musk. He's basically just one of the largest mouthpieces at this point. We're going to have a colony on Mars within the next decade or two. Like, that's insane. Yeah. One of our great-grandchildren could be born on another planet. Like, the part at the beginning of the Firefly movie, Serenity, where she's all like, Earth that was could no longer hold our numbers. We were so many. We're like 2 decades before that part. That's insane. That's crazy. Like, a lot of, I don't think it can be overstated the bad that happened in 2020, even if I personally was pretty damn blessed.
Right.
But if you look at the science and the places where humanity had each other's back, it was just a pretty amazing year in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like there were a lot of adaptations made super quickly, you know. Yeah, which is yay, technology.
Sci-fi gonna have to find a new trope. It's exciting.
I had this like mental flash or image earlier today. I was like unlocking, like I was opening the door. I went to go check the mail and I came in. That was my excitement for today. I was like, yay, I'm checking the mail. Then I come back in the door.
Same, for real.
So as I'm opening the door, I'm just thinking about like combat boots and like, you know, flamethrowers and I don't like it was such a weird mental image to get when you're opening the door to your house, but I was just like, we're like such a crazy year. And it, you know, just so much shit has gone down that you're like, that is not real life, because that is some shit. But it's really happening. And you're like, oh, it is real life. So I feel like I should get a flamethrower. I feel like that should be a thing.
Making flamethrowers at home is easier than you would believe, but that's not a thing we can really talk about on a podcast.
No.
To clarify,
but I have boots.
I do not have a flamethrower. Just saying.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was this weird realization that, like, the NPCs during this kind of stuff are just sitting at home hoping their house doesn't catch fire.
Yeah.
And getting groceries when they can. And living under really unhealthy amount of stress. Just not good.
It's not. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Thank God for books. And wine.
Thank God
and cheese.
for books and vices. Alright, I think that's about it. We covered SpaceX and things being shitty and on fire and a lot of books. I don't really want to talk about 2020, like, again.
No, I think we're good.
I'm done.
On to 2021. Cheers.
Cheers, bitches! Woohoo! So, until we see you again, don't be an asshole, smoke a joint, and take care of yourself. This has been a production of Paper and Vices, copyright 2021. This episode is presented for entertainment purposes only, and any vice should be pursued only within the legal boundaries, common sense, and personal responsibility of each person. Please check your local laws. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and guests only, and do not in any way represent the views of Paper and Vices LLC or any named persons, nor should they be considered personal, medical, or legal advice. Previous episodes and other commentary can be found at paperandvices.com.